Hi everybody, welcome to Cerebral Arcade. I'm Stacy and it's Halloween. Happy Halloween. Um, yeah, good to see some friendly faces in the chat. Hello, even if you're lurking, I appreciate you stopping by. Yeah, and today we're gonna be continuing Cinders, which we started last Sunday. And so this is they build themselves as a more mature take on the Cinderella story. And we found last week that they definitely were setting up some interesting things. Not quite sure that they're actually going to pay off on those things or deliver on them. But actually, I took a peek at a walkthrough after we finished it, and it seemed like we were really not actually very far off of finishing. So I figured today, since it's Halloween, and I figure it might be like a little bit of a lighter stream anyway, it seemed like a good day to maybe finish that stuff up and talk a little bit about fairy tales and villains and things like that. I feel like for the last several weeks, everybody, hi Jeffrey, wonderful to see you. Hello, thank you for lurking. Yeah, spooky. I feel like for the last several weeks, everybody I've been watching on Twitch has been playing like horror stuff and kind of dark suspenseful stuff. Lots of zombie games, lots of jump scare sort of games, lots of that kind of thing. And I don't know, I'm just not really feeling Halloween this year, like not in that way. So this also felt a little bit like an opportunity to talk about villains and folk tales and things like that, maybe in a way that's moving away from some of the other horror stuff. Yeah, I don't know, that was just kind of the vibe I was feeling. If I played Oxenfree, I have actually, yeah, it's in our archives. I'm really bummed because some of the recordings of that one actually had some sound issues, but I really enjoyed Oxenfree, and yeah, I'm friends with a couple of people at night school, so yeah, definitely very cool game. I really like how they did horror in that game, actually. It felt a lot more like yeah, kind of teenage horror and more sort of like suspense type stuff, which I actually tend to like more than just straight horror. Yeah, spooky suspense is a really good way to put it. I've actually also recently, speaking of spooky suspense, been watching Midnight Mass. I actually just finished that, and yeah, I'm actually also, in terms of like more supernatural horror, had been really enjoying that too. I just finished it last night, so yeah, I'm curious if anybody in chat has seen that. And then after watching that, I kind of like accidentally went on a Mike Flanagan kick, who's the director of that. I didn't even realize, I just was kind of going through my backlog of Netflix movies that have vaguely a similar vibe to that, and was like, oh, I should maybe watch this movie and that movie, and it turned out they actually all were by him. So I guess he certainly has a niche. But yeah, that's been fun. I definitely feel like spooky suspense is maybe like a little bit more my direction for horror that I like. But yeah, that's not to say I don't involve, or I don't enjoy like a good slasher every now and again, or like ghosty kind of stuff. I like that stuff. Hi, Tambalaya, great to see you. Welcome. That's not to say I don't enjoy that other stuff. Just, I don't know, I feel like for some reason this Halloween feels like a little bit of a non-Halloween, so I think maybe I feel myself being a little bit resistant to that. So yeah, I don't know. Tammy, were you here last week for the start of Cinders? So just to kind of catch folks up, we started playing Cinders last week. We got like maybe a couple hours into it. It's kind of an interesting take on a Cinderella story. It certainly is a visual novel that's playing on a lot of kind of storybook tropes, along with some visual novel romancy kind of tropes. And the way those two things intersect is actually kind of interesting. And also, it seems like what it's trying to set up for us is can't say it now. Hi, welcome. And again, it's got to be super late for you there. It's wonderful to have you. it's definitely trying to set up like a more complex relationship between Cinderella and the stepsisters. I'm not sure where it's gonna go in that regard, but it's at least sort of laying the seeds, I think, for some potentially interesting storytelling stuff. So, with all of that in mind, let's maybe dive right in. Okay. And chat, I'm gonna move you over here. That's totally fine that you weren't here. It was more like how much of a like background setup do I need to set up? But figured I would do it anyway for folks joining. Yeah, and any questions throughout, just like please don't hesitate to ask. Okay, so let's go ahead and load our game. Oh no, why are they all empty? Okay, well, I hope this autosave is reasonable. Okay, so I don't remember exactly what we were in the middle of. Don't have much time. If I want to see Mother's grave, I'll have to go down. Right, it was prompting us to go and visit our mother's grave. So it's been giving us a little bit of backstory. If I wait any longer, Carmosa or one of the other girls might catch me. Okay, so kind of throwing us back out to the map. It's been setting up a little bit of backstory. Our father was somebody who, you know, appreciated magic and fairy tales and things. We earlier left a small gift for the fairies that we sort of don't really believe in, but we did it anyway to sort of remember our father. And now we're going to go visit the grave of our mother and hopefully get a little bit more information. And maybe even a magical fairy godmother situation. We'll see. I don't remember how long it's been since I last visited the cemetery. Mother's grave isn't hard to find. It's guarded by a statue of an angel crying gracefully. Father's idea. Whoa, so that's Mother's grave? That's gigantic. Okay. Looking at how much pain the angel is in, it's clear that Father took Mother's death very badly. Can't bring myself to look away from the statue. I'm sorry, Father. The grave must be in terrible condition by now. I haven't had time to care for it. Wait, the grave is clean. Not just clean, but polished as well. Someone must be caring for it. Step away from the grave. Who's there? Oh my. Okay. This is a look, for sure. So this game came out in 2012. I feel like I've had several moments of kind of like, we were certainly in a different cultural moment 10 years ago than we are today. Maybe not different enough to justify this, but that's fine. Bit of a racist caricature. It's cool. What are you talking about? I'm not a grave robber. Of course you aren't. And I'm the... Hold on. I know you. You're Carmosa's stepdaughter. I am. I suppose you know Carmosa? No Carmosa? Of course not, but I sure know you. Well, I guess you have an advantage over me then. I have no idea who you are. You don't know? I live in town. Folk there call me Madame Guide. Madame Guide, as in the witch that everyone talks about? So you have heard of me. The stories they tell are an exaggeration, though. Those half-wits label anything they don't understand as dangerous. Even more so, seeing as I'm a woman who's smarter than they are, I suppose it frightens them. So, like, I feel like given the setting of this, and just sort of like the fear of witches and things at the time, I really don't feel that we, like, needed the kind of, like racist caricature, to go along with that. But, you know. Although it doesn't stop them from running to me anytime they have a problem they can't fix. Personally, I prefer the term wise woman. It's a lot more appropriate, I think. Okay, so again, we have another choice that feels a little bit underframed. So this was another thing. Last week we had a lot of choices that feel like they are actually going to alter the system, but it's not really clear in what way, and it's also not clear why we would want to choose one over the other. So it seems like a lot of the choices so far have had tangible consequences, but they don't really signal those consequences, or at least like signal why the player might want to choose one thing over another. So the affordances are a little bit lacking, particularly the formal affordances. So, okay. I feel like "so you're not a witch" that like it just feels kind of vaguely insulting for no reason. So I'm gonna go with "people can be stupid." People can be so stupid sometimes. The instant they see something they don't understand, they fear it. It's ridiculous and closed-minded. Damn sure it is. It's a very bitter outlook on life, though. I'm sad someone so young already sees the world that way. Sad, but you said the exact same thing. I'm old and bitter, child. The world has thrown its worst at me, but you're young. You should be dreaming of doing great things, not going around calling people stupid and closed-minded. Okay, so kind of like punishing us a little bit for that. That's fine. So I'm supposed to be a naive dreamer just because I'm young? That's ridiculous. If you continue to argue with me, I'll turn you into a toad. Wait, I thought you said you didn't know magic. I only said that the stories about me have been exaggerated, but that hardly matters now. After all, it got you to stop arguing, didn't it? True, but still. Why are you here anyway? You scared me when you shouted at me. I was just visiting an old friend. I was on the way back from picking up some herbs in the forest by the lake. Oh? I've heard that the forest and lake are special. My father used to tell me that they're magical. And we're talking about magic again. I can't help it. The atmosphere here is so mysterious. It does feel as if this place is magical. So, yeah. Yeah, one of the other comments that I had last week that I'm definitely feeling again, still, whichever, is that, yeah, it really does just feel like this game could do with about 30% less text overall. So if I were writing a game like this, I would probably be thinking of these individual dialogue moments as beats in a screenplay. And so as I'm writing them, I would be thinking about not only what does this line communicate, which this game seems very sort of exposition focused in that way. So not just what does it communicate, but also what thing in the player's mind is changing with each phrase. So like if you study a screenplay in a movie, a good one, almost every line or couple of lines has like a slight change in the dynamic, either the dynamic between two characters or new information for the audience to kind of go or it changes the emotional tone of the scene, or it changes kind of like the message, but almost every single line something is changing. And in this, it starts to feel a little bit plotty and slow-paced because it doesn't have that underlying change. So, it seems like it wants to. Like, it seems like it's trying to communicate backstory and exposition. But the problem with this is that I don't think people actually care about plot very much, and they certainly don't care about plot in something like Cinderella, which is a story that we all know so deeply. So really, for me, it would be more interesting to have, changes to how the characters see each other, or changes to how, what the power dynamic in this scene is, or, raise a question I want to know the answer to as the audience, and then make me wonder, and then tell me the answer, and, that kind of thing. And it just, it feels like first draft writing, Okay, so she asks us, do you believe in magic? And so earlier as a character, we kind of established not really. This feels like a moment maybe where we could change that a little bit. And so I'm not totally sure what the difference between not really or I believe in myself would be. So I think I'm gonna go toward maybe a little because it seems like the most interesting way to change the story a little bit. Maybe a little. My father raised me to believe, and I suppose I do miss my childhood, when I could believe wholeheartedly. But there's so many strange and wonderful things in this world. Maybe magic really does exist. Your reasoning makes sense. Okay. That is like a line completely devoid of any character voice at all. Like a robot would say that line. Tammy says, yeah, like when you're dealing with fairy tales, the grooves of the plot beats are already well worn. Exactly. So with fairy tales, it's like we're almost looking for those places where it's different. And the game sort of knows that. The first, like, 3 or 4 scenes, there were so many, like, meta, nudge, nudge, wink, wink kind of moments of, like, oh, I just love reading, but not those goofy fairy tales and stuff like that. And so it's like the game intellectually knows that and wants to engage with it, but when it comes to actually executing, it's not, like, fully, like, practicing what it preaches, I guess. And what? And so this is what I mean, is like, and what? Like, those 2 lines just completely could have been cut, and we could have just jumped to, do you think magic exists? Well, that depends on what you consider magic. Years ago, people thought medicine was magic. Some still think that way. We label things we don't understand as magic, but then what does that mean? People call fairies magical, but we could also consider them normal creatures who live in the world like we do. Birds fly, fish breathe underwater, but we don't consider them to be magical. What makes fairies different? So does that mean that fairies really exist? Haha, well, it would certainly be unwise to claim otherwise while we're in this forest. Perhaps you'd like to come visit my shop next time you're in town. Tomorrow, maybe? Maybe. Is there any reason you're inviting me? Do I need a reason? Perhaps it's merely that I like you, or we could talk about your mother. Oh, sorry. If I even slightly touch the mouse wheel, like, even if I don't actually scroll it completely, like my mouse wheel has little grooves, you know? Even if I don't fully scroll it, it does a thing where it rewinds. So it's cool that it rewinds, like, you can rewind and see previous parts of the conversation in case you missed something, but, Wait, you knew my mother? Of course I did. Who do you think has been tending to her grave all this time? It surely wasn't you. So you were friends with my mother? There. Your questions can wait for tomorrow. I'm tired and I need to return home. Shouldn't you hurry home as well? You'll be in deep trouble if Carmosa discovers you're gone. How did you know that I snuck out? Who knows? Maybe I saw it in my crystal ball. Or maybe it's just that I know Carmosa wouldn't let you wander around the woods on your own. I really want to see you tomorrow, but it won't be easy. Carmosa usually keeps a watchful eye on me. Well then, you'll just have to think of something, won't you? You won't get anything out of life if you don't take a few risks. I guess so. I'll try to come tomorrow. Excellent. I'll see you then. Take care of yourself. So, let's talk about tropes. And I'm not even going to go into the sort of racism behind mystical voodoo black person, because that's very well trodden, and there are a million articles on the internet that if that's not a trope you're familiar with, you should totally go and read those articles. But what I do want to talk about is the trope of the guide, which is really important in a lot of mythology and fairy tales, etc. And it feels like it wants to set this character up as that figure, as, you know, kind of the guide, mystical or whatever. But if this is a character that is, you know, sort of designed to know more than we do, to sort of guide us in a particular direction, I feel like the whole the whole beginning of this conversation kind of feels even more pointless in that way. Like like if we stop and we think about it in terms of like what was changing in our mind as the player as we read this, there's kind of a couple things that happened in this scene. We were introduced to a new guide character. We found out that this guide character knew our mother and knows our stepmother, so sort of puts this character on that realm, right? We know that she knows more about fairies, probably, and there's like mysticism and magic. And so we had this whole thing in the beginning about like, okay, our mother's grave's been tended, raises a mystery, who's been tending it? Then this character appears, and there's this whole back and forth about how we feel maybe about fairies and things like that, and our general outlook on people, which feel like they could have been interesting roleplay moments. But I think they would have been stronger roleplay moments if we already had the context that this character was going to be introduced as a guide figure. So if this character came in and was like, yo, I knew your mother, I'm weird and mystical, whatever, which I feel like we probably could have covered in maybe like 6 lines. And we kind of got that out of the way. And then she's asking us questions about whether we believe in magic and whether, you know, what our outlook on humanity is. Then there's a little bit of a difference there, because it kind of inherently builds in stakes, because like this is a guide, and so we might not want to upset them. And so then it sort of builds in this like, oh, there's probably a right answer that this character wants. But the way it was presented sort of backwards from that, it kind of took the stakes out of it and was sort of more like, what do you think? And it's like, well, am I trying to impress this character? Like, I don't know. So yeah, kind of interesting how just like small things in that, and leading into the audience's expectation of what roles characters play in stories, even if an audience is not, you know, sort of into the technique of writing and has not thought about it in those terms, if they know that this is a character that could help them, or they want to seek this character's approval, then it sort of inherently builds in those stakes. That was certainly an unexpected meeting. What a character! But I definitely want to speak with her again. For now, I'd better just concentrate on getting home. Magic or not, the witch was right about one thing. So, and again, the game is doing a lot of telling rather than making us feel. So our character has to tell us she wants to see this character again. And she kind of needs to tell me that, because as the player, I don't particularly feel one way or the other about it. And so, yeah, that's kind of a thing where, as a game designer, the thing to do there is make this character useful somehow. So make this character either give you information you didn't previously have, help you in some way that you couldn't have achieved on your own, etc. But make me feel like I want to see the character again, instead of just telling me I want to see this character again. Tammy says, even though it's a different genre, I'm thinking of The Path, which assumes you'll notice the Red Riding Hood plot immediately and pulls all its focus in the ways its 6 Reds present variations on the theme. That game has been on my backlog since like 2009 or something, or maybe 10. It's been a really long time. I should definitely play that, maybe for one of these storytelling Sundays, because yeah, it looks really interesting. And I know just from some of the materials that came out at the time, how it was trying to, engage with that story. But I don't actually have any context for how well it succeeds at that. So, that's a really good tie-in, Pulliver. Good observation. If Carmosa finds out I snuck out, I'll be in deep trouble. All clear in the main hall, and I don't hear anyone screaming my name. Looks like I made it back in time. The shady character is back! Oh, pardon me, ma'am. I was just on my way out. Hey, I know you. You're the man that was with Tobias last night. Keep your voice low, miss. I'm trying to remain incognito here. What are you even doing here? Oh, nothing important enough to bother you. So I like how we just were straight up like, oh yeah, we totally creeped on you with our friend last night. Like, I don't know if we knew, like, if he knew that we saw him. Now he does, I guess. It is merely boring business stuff. So for those coming in this stream, we saw him, so Tobias was our childhood friend who clearly the game wants to kind of set up as a love interest. And he's having dealings with our stepmom that seem kind of shady. And this shady character took a package to him last night that turned out to be fancy jewels that she was getting rid of. Is that supposed to be a joke? What should I tell him? Fine, keep your secret. Please tell me or face the consequences. Okay. Yeah, again, I don't really, like, this one feels very aggressive. I guess this one is a little more pleading. And this one is just kind of dismissive. Okay. I'm gonna be honest, that choice was kind of a random choice. I just kind of picked one. If it matters so much to you, keep your secrets. I don't care enough to press the issue. Now, no need for you to pout over such a little thing. See, like, I didn't realize I was pouting there. And so when he says this, I'm like, I don't know if that was intended for me to be a pout or if he's being dismissive by saying it's pouting when it's not, or some combination of those things. So, do you have trouble seeing? I'm hardly pouting. Okay, there we go. Now I'm being a little more aggressive. But that feels like a response that would have made more sense with, like, me threatening him or something. Fine, you got me. I came to tell Lady Carmosa a fine bit of information. Didn't I already tell you to keep your secret? I know womenfolk pretty well. If you say you don't care, it means you do. You're trying my patience. Leave now. Fine. Couldn't hurt to be a little more friendly. All right, so I feel like this guy is definitely being set up as a villain with his, like, misogyny. What a disagreeable man. It's true, I'm curious, but I want nothing to do with him. If Carmosa is interested in something, I'll figure it out myself. I could ask someone else in the household if they know anything about this guy. Carmosa is certainly out of the question, but maybe one of the sisters. Okay, so it seems like that whole scene was sort of just an excuse to be able to go and talk to one of our sisters. Then again, I can never tell if they're on my side or not. It might be best to play dumb and see what happens. Oh no, this terrible moment where I can't remember which sister was the one we liked and which sister was the one we don't. I'm pretty sure Sophia is the one. So we had a moment earlier where we bonded kind of with one of our sisters, and the other one is kind of at odds with that sister. So I'm pretty sure Gloria is the one that we don't like, and Sophia is the one we bonded with. So we can double down and try to bond harder with Sophia, or we could try to even it out and bond more with Gloria. Women focus how you milady someone in a setting where everyone already says my lady. That's so true. What a good observation. Okay, what are we feeling like? Do we want to try to even things out or double down? I feel like this is a game that probably is going to reward the double down more than it rewards the spread, but I don't actually know that for sure. So I'm open to suggestions. But if nobody has any suggestions, then I'll probably tend towards Sophia. Going. Okay. Maybe Sophia will know something. She's always watching and listening to everything in the house. I'll go look for her. Okay, yes, Sophia was, in fact, the one we bonded with previously. Now that's just great. She's not here either. I thought for sure she'd be hiding out in her room. I don't hide, Sophia. What are you doing in my room? Mother said dinner's almost ready, so I had to come fetch you. Where have you been? I was washing up, but I ran into a strange man on the way back. Do you have any idea who that was or what he wanted? You seem to always have a good grasp on what's going on around here. Hi, Biostats! Happy Halloween! Good to see you. Yeah, we're just continuing on playing Cinders, and we just had a run-in with a guide sort of figure who we apparently want to see again, and who told us that she knows our mother, or knew our mother, and knows our stepmother. And then we ran into Sketchy McSketcherson, who was involved with the situation with stealing or like selling jewels that possibly belonged to our mother. And now we're trying to get more information from our sister or stepsister that we previously bonded with. And we're gonna see if we can try to bond a little bit more. Yeah, I'm glad you made it too. I usually do, regardless of what Mother and Gloria think. The strange man came by earlier today. He said he had important information for the lady of the house. Gloria tried to send him away, but Mother ordered her to let him in. Do you have any idea what his information was? Well, I wasn't really invited to their secret meeting. That's too bad. I was hoping that you'd know a little more. I said I wasn't invited. I didn't say I didn't go. I managed to overhear them talking about a grand ball. Something going on at the palace, it seems. That's all I heard. What's the grand ball? I haven't got a clue. This is the first time I've heard about it. Well, thank you for the information. I don't see why you're thanking me. It's hardly an exciting secret. Anyway, you should hurry up and get to the dining room. Mother would maul us both if you were late. Okay, so, yeah, that feels a little bit like a missed opportunity. It feels like there could have been a couple of choices in there that could have, you know, maybe, even if they didn't systemically affect our relationship with the sister, maybe just giving us, like, as a player, a little bit more to roleplay with there feels like that would have been a nice thing. I do wonder, though, if that was a payoff scene that we were able to get more information, or we would have been able to get more information if the previous scene with her had gone better or something like that. Like, the game has not been great about signaling such things, but it could also have just been like, let's carry the plot forward, there's a ball happening. So, yeah, it's okay. I know we said music and art were very good in this game, but the lighting is very good as well. It is actually, and the and like the visual effects too, like just these little particles, and yeah, like the sort of glow from the lights, like that little bit of animation really does add a lot to like the whole feel of the game. Of course, Carmosa would order me to help the servants and wash the dishes. I wasn't much more than a servant during dinner either. Unlike the servants, I don't get paid though. The fireplace is killer. Yeah, that's a good point. I'm also, it's really subtle. I'm not sure if you can see it on stream, but the little bit of movement in the shutters here and the like waving flowers is also a very good detail. And the fact that as the shutter waves, this beam of light right here slightly moves up and down is, yeah, very, very good. Just small thing. I'm not sure if that's particularly what you meant about the lighting, but like, yeah, it's a very good effect. Yeah, the moon boom is what made you type how good it is. Yeah, for sure. Honestly, I'd rather they didn't even invite me to dinner. Picking over the leftovers is better than waiting on them. At least I had something to occupy my thoughts while I did my chores. A lot happened today. First, there was that talk I had with Sophia. I'm glad it's giving me a recap. First, there was that talk I had with Sophia. I'm surprised that she was willing to open up to me. Usually she's so quiet and moody. She even smiled at me a few times during dinner and treated me better than usual. I wonder if she's reaching out for a friend. Maybe the two of us could be friends. Could we be friends? lot of the games just kind of like, hey, you want to be friends with this person? It's a little awkwardly worded, but I actually kind of appreciate the like opt-in-ness of that. Could we be friends? I think so. Let's do it. Her circumstances aren't much better than mine, really. At least I had a happy childhood. She's been mistreated all her life. I wonder if I'd be the same as her if I was in the same situation. But even though she's rough and cynical, she proved today there's a smart and sensitive girl under all that. If she stopped pushing me away, I think I could grow to like her. We're so judgmental. Still, the talk with Sophia is nothing compared to meeting Madame Guide in the cemetery. What a woman. She's fascinating, but I just can't figure her out. She might look imposing, but she doesn't scare me. Oh, the cringe. Okay. She feels familiar and trustworthy. It's clear she cared about my mother, otherwise she wouldn't be tending to her grave. I should visit her in the town as soon as I get the chance, at least to thank her for keeping Mom's grave clean. And then there's the most mysterious event of the day, that weird man coming by the house. He was with Tobias last night, and now he's back to see Carmosa? Something must be going on here. I wonder if Tobias knows why he came. Whoever that man was, he sure gets around. How did someone like him know about the grand ball at the palace? So this icon also means that this is state dependent on something that we saw earlier or a choice that we made. He said that Carmosa might be interested, but I'm not sure I see the connection. I should probably investigate. I call her Cinders because that's all she leaves behind after her sick burns. Yes, that is so true. So many questions in just one day. This might be my big chance to finally change my life. That seems like quite a conclusion to jump to. But I'm too tired to think about it right now. After everything I've done today, I'm feeling so worn out, I can barely stand. I had hoped I'd have time to read a book before bed, but I need sleep. Maybe I'll have more energy tomorrow. Cinders. Hello? Is someone there? We are here. Ooh, creepy angel statue. That's a really cool little moment. Who are you? I can barely see you. Oh, but we can see you quite well. What is this place? Where am I? You're in your bed. So is this a dream? It is. Then none of this is real. Why? You're real, and so are we, and that's real enough. But who are you? You don't remember us? Should I? Do we know each other? We know you. You don't know us, but you know of us. So this is what I mean. Like, cut like half of these lines. If you want to meet us, come to the lake. Really weird hat. The lake? And don't forget to bring a gift. It would be improper if you didn't. Now rest, darling. You deserve it, and you'll need all the strength you can get for tomorrow. So I actually kind of like the little bit of crossover they seem to be doing between the fairies and like sort of supernatural stuff with her mother, because when I saw that image, the first thing I thought was, oh, the angel grave, the angel statue that's guarding our mother's grave, and then the kind of crossover between that and the fairies, I actually kind of like as a move to play on expectations of Cinderella. At least put more than one in a box. It's like the friend who yeah. So that's a little bit of like conventional design wisdom that I think actually has even gotten worse since then, of like keeping the player clicking constantly as a way to keep them engaged. Like you definitely see this in mobile games a lot, and Yeah, I do sort of feel like there is an upper limit to how much you want to see in a wall of text, but like also clicking just to click makes it feel like the end of a beat. Like it makes it feel like you want something to be moving forward or changing. Be an adult. Hey, what's up, busy? Yeah, you know what's funny about stats is I'm like somewhere in the middle on those things, and I'm realizing literally right now in the middle of this stream that I think for me, I actually do sort of separate text out into something more like beats, where it's like, oh, here's one complete thought, and then here's another complete thought, and if those are maybe different or change in direction or they're about different topics or whatever, like they definitely get different texts. So while I'm not that person who puts like everything in one text, I also don't do the like, hey, how are you? What's up? You know? But I'd never actually thought about that as a beat thing, like for me personally, but I think it is. I think that's what it is. It's like grouping things that feel, yeah, sort of like related or like one thought. No, it's not snarky at all. It's a really valid thing. And I think particularly in a game where like UX, how often you're clicking is really important to pacing. And so like in this context in particular, it matters a lot how much text you put into a box, especially like in this moment where the box is gigantic. So we absolutely have room for more text to fit in it. It's not an issue of screen real estate or anything like that. So the only reason not to put more things in a single box is because you want the separation between them, like for timing or, you know, pacing or whatever. And so the fact that we keep saying that this game feels very slow and the text feels repetitive, I think comes in part from exactly that thing of how the text is being broken up. That's strange. It looks like late morning, but no one came to wake me up again. I wonder why. I had such a strange dream last night. It felt more real than any I've ever had. I wonder what it meant. I suppose time will tell. I'm a little skeptical on that little guy. And listen, like I am so sympathetic to the Clementine will remember that, of like putting some UI in to indicate that something was a result of your choices. But yeah, I don't know, none of that felt related to our choices. So yeah, that seemed like a strange thing to pop up in that way. Time to get up and see what the day has in store for me. Probably more trouble. Strange. No one's in the main hall? I wonder where everyone went. Normally, Carbosa would be all over the place, handing out orders to everyone. If she went somewhere on business, she'd definitely wake me before leaving. Where are the girls, anyway? Would you shut up and listen to me just this once? Why should I? You're not the lady of the house, so stop acting like it. I'm not taking orders from you. Oh no, not this again. And here I was, hoping that everyone had just disappeared. That was like a nice little bit of voice there. Like you could actually like read some emotion into the lines, and they felt like not just sort of expository information dumps. I'm surprised though, the voices are coming from Carmosa's study. I thought it was off limits. I'd better check it out. I'm not taking any orders from you. You shouldn't even be here in the first place. Then tell me who you think should be in charge of the house right now. I don't see anyone more qualified. Wow, so this is what Carmosa's private study looks like. A bit barren compared to when it was Father's room. I was actually thinking that when we came in, I was like, huh, I would have expected more books or something. Did she have to get rid of everything that was even remotely pretty? Did she hate it that much, or did she need money that badly? So one thing I do appreciate is how much they're setting up, like, that we are really not financially okay in this house. And it definitely does seem like, yeah, she seems very interested in selling things. And I think, like, you know, it wants us to sort of be like, oh, she's selling things because she's so evil. But I think it's also trying to set up this idea that maybe we really are financially in dire straits and she's trying to like do what needs to be done. What are you doing here? I could ask you the same thing. Isn't this place off limits to everyone? Oh, Gloria's just another one of her delusional power trips. Why else would she be here? I know that it's like not a thing that games like this tend to focus on, but when you have lines like she's on another one of her delusional power trips, which is so like anachronistic from how they're dressed and how other characters are occasionally speaking, it's funny, so it does achieve that kind of like comedy effect, but it does feel extremely like, yeah, anachronistic. And I don't know. I feel like this game is not sure where it wants to land on that. Like, on the one hand, it does feel sort of a very Americanized modern speech, but on the other hand, it then occasionally doesn't. And so, yeah, that's the thing I'm going to pay a little bit more attention to as we're going through, too. It takes you out of the moment. Yeah, it does. Shut up, you little... Hang on, what's going on here? Where's Carmosa anyway? Who knows? She left early this morning without saying much, and now Gloria's distraught. She left for business and said she'll be back in 2 days. It happens, and I'm not distraught. I'm merely trying to maintain order while Mother is away. I don't recall Mother leaving you in charge. Shouldn't it go without saying? Who else would be capable? All you're good for is foolish commentary. Oh, of course. Only Gloria is capable of anything. How did I not see that before? Both of you, stop arguing right now. What should I do? Well, I just told everyone to calm down. Now am I going to side with Sophia, call them both hopeless, or side with Gloria? I mean, I feel like probably doubling down with Sophia and like really leaning into this is the way to go. Because I sort of feel like anything else is not really going to systemically get us much. Like I said before, I think trying to befriend Gloria at all is probably just going to lead to like us not really seeing much of either side. So what an odd moment to make you choose. Yeah, so that also has that problem of the feeder into the choice being kind of weak. So one thing when we were designing choices at Telltale that we kind of tried to do is that last line before you have to make a choice, we would call that the feeder line. And that line is very powerful because it kind of frames the entirety of the choice you're about to make, right? So you get some context going into a choice, and then you have the feeder, and the tone and direction of that feeder can imbue the choice with stakes. So the game there just kind of turning to us and saying, hey, what do you want to do? Is like the most neutral way that could go. If instead, Gloria or Sophia, who we've been previously siding with, had turned to us and said, well, Cinders agrees with me, don't you? Like, now it's kind of forcing you to make a choice, and it's kind of forcing you to make a choice that already has some inherent stakes in it, because you have to either disagree with her or decide which way you're going to agree with her. So, like, it just becomes a little bit more, like, juicy of a choice inherently. If Carmosa didn't appoint someone, doesn't that mean she didn't find it necessary to leave anyone in charge? Maybe she thought we'd actually be able to handle ourselves for 2 days. This is a rare chance. We're free of her rule for a little bit. We should enjoy it instead of arguing about it. You see, even Cinders figured it out. With Carmosa gone, we're getting a break. You don't have to ruin our fun with your sad imitation of her. Both of you are hopeless. Your rebellious behavior is exactly why someone needs to take charge. But I suppose I can't stop you. Go ahead and have your fun if you're so smart and responsible. So, like, and we keep going. That felt like that could have been the end of the scene right there. In testing and surveys, we call it the item stem, but the same logic follows on framing the potential answers. Oh, that's super interesting. Can you say more about that? Oh yeah, I gotta dig into that nuance. Why on earth did Carmosa leave so early without saying anything? Doesn't that seem suspicious? It's not as if Mother ever tells us anything. Even we don't know what she does. Yeah, man, I know I said this before, but I'm really feeling it in this scene. Like, a little bit of color coding or a larger portrait there would really be helping me out because, especially with the names being so similar between Gloria and Sophia, it's really hard to just like quickly glance and see who's talking. So I actually have to stop and process like which character is speaking this line, in a way that we wouldn't have to put so much work into if either the names were color coded or we had a larger picture or the writing voice was a bit more intense and intentional. Do you think this has anything to do with that strange man who came by yesterday? All I know is it's none of our business. Now, if neither of you are gonna help me, get out of here and leave me alone. Let's get out of here, Cinders. Our audience with Her Majesty is clearly over. Okay, nice. And I feel like, whether it's true or not, this game is leading me to believe that we're gonna have a nice little, like, moment with Sophia because we took sides with her. And there you have it. No matter what you tell Gloria, she insists on being in charge. Well, what do you plan on doing with your day? I'm not sure. I might go into town. There are a few things I've been meaning to do. Good luck getting Gloria's permission for that. You'd be better off just sneaking out on your own. You mean you won't tell her if I go? Why would I do that? I want no part in Gloria's solutions of power. And I don't care what you do. Again, like, delusions there as the word. Maybe sneaking out is a good idea then. I'll think about it. I'm hungry though. I need to eat first. About that, I already made breakfast. You can have some if you like. Oh, nice. She made breakfast for us. Yeah, so this is nice. It's like a nice little payoff moment after that scene. I cooked for myself already, and making extra for you was no trouble. Thank you. That was very kind of you. OG Panda! Hello, I have to head to bed here soon and want to say hello and happy Halloween. Well, hello and happy Halloween to you too, Panda. It's really great to have you. Thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you, that was very kind of you. I wouldn't read into it too much. I only did it because it was easy. Haha, of course. Well, thank you anyway. Breakfast was lovely. Everything is so much more relaxing and peaceful when Carmos is away. It sure would be nice if every day could be like this. I guess it's just a silly dream. I wonder what I should do today. It would definitely be the perfect day to go into town. I could talk with that woman, Madame Guide, or go see Tobias. I'm especially curious to know what was going on that night when I saw him. Tobias has some explaining to do, and this time he won't get away. Well, there's no sense in waiting around. I should get going. I wonder if I should tell Gloria that I'm leaving. She'd be angry if she found out later. Yeah, no, definitely not. So yeah, this is this is interesting. So those lines there were clearly meant to like give information to the player about what you might want to do and what sorts of choices you would make. It's literally that framing that I keep complaining we don't have. I am sympathetic to that. I also feel like it would have been preferable to put those things in UI if we could, and that's maybe that's a preference on my part. And I recognize also that putting things in UI is more expensive than just having a line of dialogue say maybe I should do this thing. But it does feel like if we had to do it in dialogue, I really would have liked that to be a lot shorter. Like, I feel like we probably could have squeezed all of that into just a couple of sentences instead of having like a whole scene here being like, well, what should I do? Okay, so we're gonna sneak out. Besides, if I told her, she'd probably forbid me to leave anyway. I should probably skip out on the joy of speaking with her. Sneaking out, I see. I knew you would. Yeah, you just told us to. So this feels like maybe critical path stuff that the other thing was kind of giving us framing. Gloria would be angry with me either way. What difference does it make? But you don't have to tell me that. You really won't tell Gloria I've left. Are you joking? I've had enough of her today. I don't want to talk to her about anything. Besides, she'll notice soon enough. She's not stupid. And when she notices, she'll be angry. I'll look forward to it. Take care and have fun in town. There's no way you'd be able to have fun here after all. Okay, it's hard in a text box to explain for simplicity if there are right answers to an item, like a multiple choice test. Your STEM needs to frame the correct responses as well as the distractors. Oh, that's a really good way to put it. Yeah. Okay, so we can go to the forest where the fairies told us to go, or we can go into town, where, yeah, we can go see that Madame Guide person, or go see Tobias, or, I don't know, our dreamy Strider love interest that I'm not super interested in. We could see him too. Does anyone in chat have any strong directions, one or the other? I'm gonna be really honest, none of the guys, nor our, like, mystery that we're theoretically solving, like, none of that stuff really interests me. For me, I'm like, yeah, let's get to the fairies. So, I think I'm, like, more slightly drawn to this, but, yeah. Geet or bust. Oh, I'm sorry, I saw that, like, just right after. Sorry, biostats. It's so beautiful. I hear birds singing. The freedom makes me feel so alive. That strange dream I had last night. It said I should go to the lake. It seems silly, but it did feel different from a normal dream. Was it really someone speaking to me? Well, even if it wasn't real, I could at least take some time by the lake to relax. Wait a minute, but we don't have a gift, and it did say to have a gift, so let's hurry into town. And we'll geet or bust. Better not waste any of this precious day. There's so many exciting things in store for me. I can't wait. Market day is clearly over. The streets are much emptier now. That's just fine with me. I've still got plenty of things I can do, like visit Tobias. Maybe I could also stop by the inn and see if the captain of the guard is there. But first I need to see if I can find Madame Guide. She seemed to know a lot about Mother and I. I'm so curious to learn more. I don't have a clue where her shop is, though. I'll have to ask around. Okay. Well, here I am. I guess we found it? I don't see Madame Guide anywhere. Is she out? Just look at everything here. We didn't actually make a choice for any of this. We just kind of went there, which is fine. Like, yeah, that did feel like maybe a little bit of false agency, though. Skulls, candles, I don't even know what that is. I wonder if I should have come. Don't touch anything. Ah, you surprised me. Oh, child, it's you. I mistook you for one of those mindless town folk. It's impossible to even leave for lunch without one of them coming in and breaking something. Then why do you do it? Have to eat sometime, right? I meant, why do you leave your store open? Doesn't it attract thieves? These people might be clumsy, but they won't take any risks if they don't have to. Especially when it involves stealing from a witch. But earlier you said you're not a witch. Did I? Well, what I am hardly matters. What matters is what people believe of me. It's most helpful. I don't know enough literature. Is the name Guide a reference to something? I don't know. I'm gonna let folks in chat who have Google at hand maybe pull something up and see if it comes up with something. It's a good question. I actually haven't been reading very deeply into any of the names on this, and maybe it makes sense to. Yeah, likewise with Lady Carmosa. That feels like maybe a potentially interesting name, but I haven't. Yeah, I think I understand what you mean. Of course you understand. You're a bright girl, just like your mother. That's what I wanted to talk to you about. You act like you knew my mother, but I don't remember you. I did know your mother, but not as well as you'd like. I know you too. That felt awkward. How did you two meet? A few months before you were born, your mother had some health problems. She came to me for help. I wouldn't say we were close friends, but I learned many of her secrets. I see. Can you tell me what Mother was like? I only know her from what Father told me. Oh, I have nothing but respect for her. She was a strong and clever woman who wouldn't settle for the boring life that was expected of her. She was ambitious, motivated. She always knew how to get what she wanted. How strange. Father always spoke of her as if she was an angel, humble, caring, and a hopeless romancer. How is that strange? Those aren't conflicting descriptions. Can't a woman be smart and independent and still want to be a good mother and wife? She was also practical and brilliant at business. Better than your father, to be honest. We're going to talk about feminism in a minute. Wow, I never knew. With everything father said, she seemed more mythical than anything else. It's a family of figures in Haitian voodoo. Interesting. Okay. There's really leading into that, like, yeah, magical black person thing. Truly? You know, you're rather similar to your mother. The two of you have the same spark. Oh. I'm not good wife material. Or I'm not that independent. Or how do you know? How do you know feels a little bit like a non-answer. But these other ones, I kind of want to pick one of these because the way this game has been setting up choices, it's kind of been, you know, for all of its faults in the way that I've been, you know, kind of frustrated with some of the framing on some of the choices, it has given us quick enough payoffs that it has done a little bit of tutorializing about its own system and how it pays off its choices. So with that in mind, this choice to me feels like it's going to be impactful later. So, yeah, I definitely don't think I want to say I'm not that independent. I'm definitely leaning toward I'm not good wife material. I kind of suspect this might, like, close off one or more romantic options to us, but, so far none of the romantic options have really jumped out to me as being very appealing. So, yeah. So I think I'm gonna go for it. Let's be not good wife material. I think there's at least one major difference. I don't think I'd make a good wife or mother. I prefer to make my own way in life. But I am rather ambitious. I suppose my mother and I are similar in that respect. I just don't see myself settling down, getting married, or having children. There are so many things I want to do. I'm not really interested in anything like that. Details, darling. It's not about settling down or running around. It's about making your own choices. Oh, so meta! Well, that's a moot point anyway. Even though I want to make my own choices, Carmosa gives me no freedom. Ah, Lady Carmosa. Your father always was attracted to extraordinary women. He may have a good heart, but he was a little disconnected from reality. Without your mother's guidance, he likely would have lost his title and fortune in no time. Carmosa also has the brains and ambitions necessary to manage his estate. She's an excellent choice for his second wife, and an incredible person. So this is the second person now telling us how great our stepmother is at business things and management and stuff like that. So we can agree with her or beg to differ. You know, they say once is a fluke, twice is a coincidence. I'm not sure I believe in coincidences. So I'm gonna go ahead and say, I think I'm gonna agree with her. And I kind of just want to see where that's gonna take us. I suppose if you look at it that way, Carmosa is pretty capable. Okay, that feels like a very realistic version of how we would agree with her. From what I've heard, she hasn't had it easy. I know she had to work hard to get and stay where she is. I mean, the house is still standing after all, so clearly she knows what she's doing. But that doesn't make me like her anymore. That's the price she has to pay. She couldn't get to this position by worrying about who likes her. But even knowing that, she put her family first and gave up personal happiness for the sake of the house. That's something worth respecting. I certainly respect her. I understand what you're saying, but it's still hard for me to like her. As long as you respect her sacrifice, you're a wise child. No matter which path you choose to pursue in life, you'll have to sacrifice something, after all. By the way, how are Carmosa's daughters? Are you getting along? What should I tell her? They're not bad or they're the worst. Yeah, As soon as we get to the end of the scene, I want to talk a little bit about its portrayal of women in this game. Well, I assume you can imagine how Carmosa's daughters would be. They keep me at arm's length. They're troubled, confused, hurt. They often hide behind cruelty or cynicism. But underneath all that, they're just normal girls. I think as they mature, our relationship will get better. I only hope that with time, they'll be able to free themselves from Carmosa's toxic influence. But for now, it's still very difficult to live with them. It seems that things are difficult for you. You're not happy with your life these days, aren't you? You could say that. And what are you doing? What do you mean? If you don't like your life, then you have to be the one to change it. Otherwise, anything you say is just whining. I definitely want my life to change. Then what's your plan? Yeah, again, like this choice, I don't really know what I'm choosing here. I like to talk out what I think it's asking me to choose is, okay, so what's my plan? My plan is I'm more like patient. I wait for my chance. I'm more like I'm not sure if this is more like inquisitive or curious or more like hesitant. I have to learn more, and I have my ways that feels just like manipulative. So yeah, I don't really know what to choose here. Yeah, I mean, I guess I say I wait for my chance, because it feels the most proactive out of any of these. See, but this is not what I meant by that. So yeah, again, with like signaling on choices. I believe in waiting for a turn of fate. I just need to be patient. That's nothing to laugh at. Thank you. I'm saying that because it's such a stupid notion that it's not even remotely funny. You're a grown woman, and yet you still believe that good things are in store for you if you simply wait. For how long? Will you wait until you're so old it doesn't matter anymore? Say what you will, but I think my luck is destined to change. Destined? There's no such thing as destiny or fate. Oh, sorry. Resume. Yeah, opening a menu on a right click is kind of rough, especially if you don't close it on another right click. We accidentally met yesterday at a place we both rarely visit. What are the odds? Then Carmosa left today, letting me come visit you just as you wanted. That's not fate? Being passive about your life isn't good. Things don't happen on their own, but you can't just dismiss fate entirely. A couple of coincidences don't prove that fate exists, but sure, believe what you wish. I just hope you act on your beliefs. If you do nothing, your mother will be disappointed. Anyway, it doesn't seem you have a very clear idea of what you want yet. I promised your mother that I'd help you, and I will, but you yourself need to know what you want first. Come see me once you're ready to move forward, and we'll talk about your options. Did you really promise your mother you'd help me? Of course I did, girl. I have no reason to lie about that. You must get going now, though. Wait, I still have so many questions. I have a lot of work to do, I'm afraid. I can't afford any disturbances. I'm sure we'll have another chance to talk. I'll do my best to answer your questions then. You remind me so much of your mother, and I'm sure that you'll be just fine. Okay, so yeah, this game seems like, we talked about this a little bit, and again, I don't want to cast any judgments on like themes and overall message of the game while we're still playing it, because like any of these could absolutely be things that an ending or consequences or whatever subvert our expectations as a player. So I think it's very unfair to judge what a game is like trying to say before we finish it. That said, there are several moments that we've had so far, and this scene feels like another one, where it feels like the game is trying to add nuance to characters that we know we're supposed to not like. And so far, the way that it seems to do that most of the time is to set up this like like women are misunderstood because they do crappy things, but they're justified in doing them, or like maybe you don't understand them in the crappy things they do, or whatever. And all of that seems to kind of be indicating an ethos that that intention is like the core of its ethics. And so yeah, it feels like a kind of shallow way to add nuance to me personally. I don't have a problem with that as nuance. Like, I don't have a problem with saying, like, oh yes, the stepmother did these things and she was very cold and what have you, but she was just being pragmatic. I don't actually have a problem with that being the direction that it's going. I do have a little bit of a problem that it seems to sort of be drawing this dichotomy between like kindness and pragmatism that feel like things that are not actually at odds for me. So yeah, it's like I don't have a problem with the way they want to draw nuance around this character, but it feels like excusing things in a way that I don't know that I don't know that they're mutually exclusive in that way. Like, I don't know that excuse is the direction I would go. Like, I think you can have a character that is cold and pragmatic and has a little bit of depth to their coldness and pragmatism without, like, excusing it. You know what I mean? So yeah, I don't know. It feels a little strange. And it also feels like it's kind of setting up this whole thing about women in this way. And I can't quite, like, point to exactly what about that feels like it, but there were a lot of kind of didactic comments in there about, like, always needing to sacrifice things and, women's paths and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know. It feels like a really, like, strange flavor of feminism, particularly one that, like, also feels like it's kind of engaging with, like, racist tropes, and like, the whole thing just feels a little, yeah, I don't know. Like, it just really feels like it could have used a strong edit pass. It's hard because characters don't have much depth to begin with. Yeah, for sure. But in some ways, I think that's an opportunity, right? Like for me, they could have presented me with any version of I have two sisters that are cruel to me in front of their mother. And even that second part's kind of optional, but if it had had those two elements and literally any version of two sisters in there, I'd buy into it, right? Like, because the characters are so underdrawn in Cinderella that all we know is you have two cruel stepsisters and a cruel stepmother. And so, like, I'm fine with, maybe your stepmother has her reasons, and maybe you don't even get to fully know what those reasons are. Like, she's just being pragmatic, and that's fine. She has her good qualities too. I'm totally good with that. It's like the stepsisters, though, I feel like are where you can, like, really service that and really pay it off. So maybe it will do that, and, like, that would be great. But it just feels like it's kind of, I don't know. It's just it's a flavor of feminism that feels very still very Buxton to me. Like, yeah, I guess it feels like it's refuting premises that I never subscribed to, and so it feels a little strange in that regard. Like, for example, the line where she's like, oh, you can totally be a mother and be all of these other things, and it was like, yes, I don't think that was ever a question. So the need to explicitly calls it out just feels really strange. So I guess that's maybe a vibe that I kind of keep getting throughout this whole thing of like, yeah, she's cruel and she's very pragmatic and a great businesswoman. And I'm like, okay, but the one doesn't like excuse the other, and she can be both of those things, and like it just, I don't know. So it's like I'm just wanting a little more, I guess. I must admit, I don't know what to think about Madame Guide after we talked. I can't tell when she's being serious or sarcastic, if she's giving me advice or just mocking me, or both. And maybe I'm just not used to acts of selflessness, but I get suspicious when someone outright offers to help me with all of my problems. Makes me wonder if they don't have some hidden agenda, especially if it's the town witch. Looks like my mother was quite special to make such interesting acquaintance. A witch! Still, she seems genuinely interested in helping me, and can I really be picky here? I won't be forgetting the conversation we just had anytime soon, that's for sure. Where should I go now? It's still fairly early, I can probably take my time today. I was really hoping to pick up a gift for the fairies. We didn't really have that option. I could go have a little talk with Tobias in his store. I wouldn't mind heading to the inn either, I'm sure it would be fun. I might even see the captain of the guard there. So where should I go next? Okay, friends. So let's presume this is a love interest choice. Do we want to go with Tobias, our childhood best friend who clearly has some shady things going on? Or do we want to do with the mysterious sociopath who murdered a bunch of people in the name of duty and everybody lauded as a hero over at the inn? Gotta say, I'd love to see more media about voodoo that isn't presented through the othering lens that most Western mainstream media tends to frame it. I would love that too, Tambalaya. That sounds like really interesting and something that I feel like, yeah, like I'm really hoping with kind of the renaissance of new voices that we're getting into mainstream media, I'm really hoping for it, like exactly that kind of thing, just like new stories that are not super trodden. I really don't like any of these men. Like, given the option, I'm still like not joking that like, yeah, I don't want to romance anybody, and if I had to romance somebody, I feel like one of the sisters would be more preferable than either of these men. So yeah, I guess let's go with Tobias, because I feel like the game is really pushing me toward like Belts McGee, and I'm not loving him. So yeah. Cinders says, "My, this place is tidy as ever. Tobias really keeps the store in shipshape." Speaking of Tobias, Cinders, I didn't expect to see you again so soon. This is a pleasant surprise. Well, I'm kind of lucky in that respect. Carmosa suddenly decided to leave for a few days. Wow, mood. I'm not sure which that was in response to, Tammy. It must be great to have some freedom. It does. I wish it wasn't for such a short amount of time, but I'll enjoy what I have. Although I confess, I'm envious of you, Tobias. You get to make your own decisions all the time. Well, I can't exactly say that. After all, my parents passed away when I was young, so this store was my only option. Right. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to offend you. It's fine. No one ever means it when they say it's fine. It's fine. In the end, we just see the good portions of other people's lives without the hardship. Okay? We pick and choose what we want. People look happy, but they might be struggling inside. That's true. It seems like you've thought about this a lot. Okay. So there's like a storytelling thing, right? Like if you look at like Save the Cat or you know, these kind of like screenplay template kind of things, there's a moment like very early in the story where they do the like state the theme, and I feel like like that's happening in this scene and the previous one, except we're really far into the game for that, and it's like very heavy-handed, and yeah, I don't know, it just feels like characters are suddenly turning to us and like breaking the fourth wall and being like, yeah, you only see the good in people's lives, you don't see the bad. And it's like, wait, like, why are we getting like moralizing here? Okay. Maybe a little. Despite all the struggles, I'm happy with where I am in life, though. I wish you could find a path to the life you want as well. That's very condescending. Although knowing you, wishes won't be necessary. You're a bright girl, so it's only a matter of time. Yeah, good pivot there, Tobias, because I was not feeling it. Thank you. Yeah, that's exactly the correct response. Just thank you with a period. Thank you. But I assume you aren't here to listen to my life lessons. No, I'm sure not. So what brings you here? I can be friendly, I can be flirty, or I can ask about the other night. The vague sentiment of this game keeps giving me men to date, and I don't want to date any of them. Yep, fair enough. Okay, so, yeah, I feel like last time we tried to press our luck and be a little bit flirty, and it didn't actually get us anywhere. So it feels like we could probably be flirty again, and the second instance of being flirty might opt into a romance situation with Tobias. Tobias also just kind of like negged and then unnegged us, so I'm not feeling him. He's like not negging us as bad as the other guy, who's just like hardcore, yeah, not a fan. But yeah, I kind of just want to ask about the night. I think I'm gonna go with that. Oh, and what would that be? I want to know what happened 2 nights ago. I'm not sure I know what you're talking about. Please don't play dumb. I saw you. You saw me? But how? That slight moment of him moving away actually was really good and expressive. So it's Tobias, Belty Cop, and Prince so far. Yeah, so far we've seen 0 of the Prince's personality. But yeah, I would take 0 personality over Belty sociopath and Tobias. I followed that shifty-looking character from my house. If this game never gives him a name, that would be one of the best writing decisions this game makes. I followed that shifty-looking character from my house. He seems suspicious, so I was curious. I confess, I was surprised to see you there, dealing in something so underhanded. I'm sorry you had to see me like that. I have to know what happened. Are you involved in something illegal or immoral? Of course not, although it really does look that way, doesn't it? I suppose I'll have to explain things now, otherwise that will look even more suspicious. I'd appreciate it if you did. Yeah, like cut those 2 lines. Put simply, Carmosa asked me to sell something for her. It was a normal business transaction. But you're the one who was paid, and then you received the necklace, and why all the secrecy? The necklace was the item for me to sell. The money was payment for my services. Why didn't she just sell it herself? And why did you have to hire that strange man? That strange man is a local vagabond, but he's trustworthy where money is involved, usually. Sometimes he helps with tasks that require a certain amount of delicacy. And Tobias, a perfect summation of Tobias, exactly. You mean secrecy? But why? Isn't it apparent? Why does any noble keep anything a secret? I'd rather not guess. Enlighten me. Being a noble is largely a game of appearances. Many things need to be done in private. There's no crime in selling a piece of jewelry that you rightfully own, is there? Crime, no. But for a noble to sell her own jewelry means she's lacking in money. If others found out she was struggling financially, it would undermine her power. That's why she sent you to pay me and had someone else pick up the necklace in the middle of the night. She doesn't want there to be any connection between her and me. She's not the only one. I've done similar business with noble houses in the past. But are you saying Carmosa is out of money? Yeah, we kind of were getting that. She kept it from you? Your house has been in bad financial shape ever since your parents passed. Carmosa has been struggling to keep her influence strong. She never told me. Biostat says I'm not buying these excuses from him. Are you not? I actually kind of am. He seems very, like, I don't know. Maybe he's got something else, but, I don't know. I want there to be like a spicy affair going on between Tobias and Carmosa. I just don't think this game has that in it. Like, I don't know. I suppose being a noble means keeping appearances up in front of your own family as well. But wasn't he our best friend? Yes, he was. I don't know. She seemed very eager to sell the necklace as quickly as possible. Is there a reason for that? Well, the necklace is worth a great sum, but I don't know why Carmosa needs it so urgently. That's all I know. I hope you understand why I couldn't tell you about this. Hashtag shit friend. Yeah. I hope you understand why I couldn't tell you about this. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like, there are a lot of directions this choice could take us, and I don't actually know, like, which one it's, like, wanting to imply, or maybe all of them, or maybe none of them. I don't know. I can see this choice going a few ways. One is, like, agreeing with him versus disagreeing with him kind of being a change in my relationship with him. Another is agreeing with him versus disagreeing being a change in, like, my own sort of role player character and how I see myself. But it feels like the game is keeping track of something that I'm not fully thinking on its same wavelength. So I can't tell you what I just told you. So I don't know. I think I'm just gonna disagree with him, because at this point, like, like, if I ruin my relationship with him, I don't feel like that's gonna actually have any negative effects for me as a player that I care about. So, yeah, I'm sorry, but I really can't sympathize. Hiding behind a merchant's oath doesn't count in this case. This is my life we're talking about. I didn't even know my own house was having money problems. You're my friend. You should have told me. I'm sorry you feel that way. I know it's important to you, and I did consider telling you. Maybe it's for the best that you found out. But my reputation depends on how trustworthy I am, and that means I must keep my word. Does your reputation matter to you more than our friendship? Oh, snap. I'm sorry. Yes. I have a question, though, about the man who was working for you. I saw him come by the house again yesterday morning. Was that another pickup for Carmosa? I'm afraid I don't know. I haven't seen him since we parted ways 2 nights ago. Carmosa left the house quite suddenly after he came by. Do you think it could be related? It's hard to say. You could try asking him. He spends a lot of time at the inn. And drops by around here occasionally. I think I'll do that, thanks. More like Tobias. Don't mention it, I just wish I could help more. Well, I need to get going now. Gloria will have a fit if I don't return early. She's taking her role as house guardian very seriously. I can imagine. Your sister has always been serious about everything. Gloria is not my sister. She is Carmosa's daughter. I apologize, I didn't mean to offend you. Anyway, I really need to get going now. I understand. I have some business I must attend to as well. But you're always a welcome guest here. If you ever need anything, you know where to find me. Thank you. Take care, Tobias. Take care, Cinders. It was nice to see you again. It was nice seeing Tobias again. Especially so soon. And I certainly learned a lot from this trip. I would never have guessed that Carmosa was struggling with finances. I might be able to use this knowledge. I definitely need to find that shady vagabond and learn more from him as well. Oh, these little birds up here are really nice. That's a good detail I hadn't noticed, actually. I have to give Tobias one thing. Every time I visit him, it seems he has some kind words and insights. He's such a good friend to me. It's getting late. I think I have time to visit one more place. I could stop by the inn and leave to go to the lake. What that weird dream tonight was about. Chat, do we feel like we want to go to the inn or the lake? I'm definitely leaning more lake. The inn has nothing I care about. Certainly not Belts McGee, though I would love for Tammy to see Belts McGee. I'm not actually very interested in romancing him. He's kind of the typical, like, brooding jerk guy. Lake, but wish we had a gift. I know! Nobody's giving us a gift, and we're not even, like, in a position to ask for one or buy one or anything, so that kind of sucks. Yeah, Lake. With caps, I love the emphasis. Okay, let's leave town. Cinders says, the lake is as beautiful as I remember it. Though I have to admit, I'm a little bit disappointed. I guess I was really hoping that someone would be here waiting for me. Like who? Well, the voice in the dream asked me to bring a gift, and that's what my father would do too. Sure, I'll leave one. Let's be honest, I came here because of that dream. I might as well leave a gift like I intended to. I think I'll gather some wildflowers and wrap them in my shawl. Beautiful bouquet should be a nice gift. I'll just place it by this tree. Nothing's happening. Well, I don't suppose I was expecting anything anyway. It must have just been a dream. In the end, real life is more exciting than dreams and fairy tales. For instance, this place is so tranquil and beautiful. Even if it's not magical, I feel so at peace. I just want to lie down in the grass, close my eyes, and let my problems drift away. Actually, that sounds like such a good idea right about now. This is my day to do what I please with. If I want to take a nap, I will. This looks like a good spot. I'll just lie down here. That's strange. Everything's so quiet. The wind is picking up so suddenly. Did the wind just call my name? Who's there? Yeah, really good lighting change there. No one's there. I suppose it was just the wind playing tricks on me. Creepy. We are not wind. Then who are you? Who am I speaking with? You are speaking with us, naturally. But I don't see anyone. How can you not see us when we are everywhere around you? I don't understand. How do you even know my name? We know you because you left gifts for us, just as your mother and father did before you. Surely you know us. You wouldn't leave gifts if you didn't know who they were for. So, you're fairies. Am I dreaming? Right now, you tread the delicate line between sleep and wakefulness. Soon you will be fully asleep. Makes sense. I guess. What do you want from me? We have no desire for anything from you. You're the one who seeks our aid, do you not? I suppose so. Do I get a wish or something? If it's the right wish, then yes. Then I wish for... The time is not right yet, Cinders. Do not worry, when the moment comes you will know. And the lake owes you a favor. I'm not sure I understand. I get a wish, but only when you say it's okay? That's a bit convoluted. It would if you were awake, but here, in between wakefulness and dreams, it is as it should be. You are leaving now, but we will meet again. Wait, I'm leaving? Where? What do you mean? Why does the lake owe us? Because we gave it gifts. And so I guess they're just like, hey, we're not gonna grant you a wish now, but like, here's an IOU for a wish. We'll cash it out when we choose. Goodness, I must have dozed off. No wonder, the atmosphere here is so relaxing, it's hard not to sleep. Does this mean the voice of the fairies was just a dream? Well, even if the fairies themselves admitted that I was dreaming, can a dream know it's just a dream? But it felt real enough, and the gifts I left have disappeared. What do I think? It must have been real, or it was just a dream? I mean, it seemed real to me. I don't know. I'm gonna go with it unless chat disagrees. Go in. didn't feel exactly like a dream. There was something very tangible about it in a strange way. I probably should be more scared than I am, but I feel wonderful. Maybe I should ask Madame Guide about this when I get the chance. Oh. Slightly bumped my scroll wheel, sorry. She seems knowledgeable about things like this. She's a witch, after all. I have to go, though. The sun is already setting. It seems I slept for quite a long time. It's time to go home. I don't want to give my sisters a reason to worry. Or be satisfied. Okay, so, yeah, the pacing of this feels so strange. Because, the thing that feels like it's missing for me in this story so far, kind of entirely across the board, from both the choices and the narrative and the character relationships and everything, is that it feels like there's just an extreme lack of stakes, like across the board. So, you know, like typically in a story, we can tell how far into the story we are by how much dramatic tension we're feeling, like what the stakes are. The stakes continue to raise throughout the course of a story. And in a story that feels kind of entirely devoid of stakes, the pacing just feels wild. Like, I have no idea. Like, I would equally believe if you told me, like, in the next scene, we're gonna get the fairy godmother scene, we're gonna have a ball, and this has like an hour left of game, I would believe you. If you told me this is like the end of the second act and we still have like 2/3 of the game left, I would believe that too. So like it's just really weird. And some of that I think comes from it is adhering to the template of Cinderella without adhering to like some of the standard storytelling template stuff that like we as an audience look to tell us how far into a story we are. Peter Pan voice, I do believe in fairies. So yeah, it's weird. Like, yeah, I don't know. I absolutely went into this session of this game being like, oh yeah, I feel like we actually are about to hit the fairy scene and we don't actually have very much game left and whatever. And now I feel like, oh, actually, I feel like we have quite a lot of game left. And yeah, I don't feel like there's really anything at stake at the moment. Like, it feels like no matter what I do, like I know my choices are changing things in small ways, but I don't have some overarching sense of my character and my character's goal. I don't have like an overarching sense of like a villain I want to defeat, or like an aspect of myself that I want to change, or like any of the things I might normally latch onto and look to for like how I want to play this character, and like role play hooks and ways to sort of like make decisions. It's like sometimes I'm getting them on a micro level sometimes of like, oh, I don't want to disappoint this character, or I don't, you know, in like these moment of choices. But like as a whole, like how do I want to play my character, or like what is the thing I'm trying to overcome, or any of that? It's like I don't really know. And so it's like the meta comment there of like, you seem like you don't really know what you want, is like, yeah, because I don't know, like I feel like maybe I don't know what I want as a player, because I also don't have a clear understanding of like what my options are. So yeah, so in my dissertation I talked about agency as like this nested thing that players experience, where there's kind of like moment to moment, you know, your mouse is moving around on a screen, like feedback, and that's like kind of your center level of agency. And then at a level out from that, there's like, in this choice, is my character going to enact the thing that I feel like I'm enacting. And then like a level up from that, it's like, and is that going to move the story roughly in the direction I'm trying to move the story? And up from that, there's like, am I able to roleplay this character in a direction that I feel like the game is setting up for me to play, and that I want to be moving this character? And I feel like on a micro level, I'm getting like some response, but I'm not really getting affordances and things to latch onto at like a higher level. So yeah, that's just kind of a thing that I feel like I'm noticing. And because of that, it's also affecting pacing and my understanding of like where we are in the story even. Home sweet home. I used to love returning home when my father was alive. I missed sharing the events of the day with him. Now it just seems like a grim prison, and my parole has just been revoked. What? Not to mention I'm probably up for a long talk with the jailer, seeing how late it is. You're back, safe and sound, too, with no sign of having been attacked by robbers, wolves, or some such. Though I probably shouldn't be surprised that they didn't want you either. Sophia, charming as always. I kind of expected Gloria to be here to try to reprimand me. It doesn't seem like her to let such a breach of rules slip without a word. It does seem strange, doesn't it? I'm as surprised as you are. I thought there was nothing as important for her as taking any chance she has to mimic Mom's contempt. Oh, I can imagine it already. If Mom was here, she would tell you you should have a stick up your derriere like I do. Okay, sorry. You're awful, and more importantly, off the point. What happened with Gloria? I don't know. She didn't seem that angry, more like sad, really. Both mean she's not well at all, so I'm content either way. Still, I wonder what could throw Gloria off her high horse, and out of that annoying Carmosa pose, for that matter. Did something happen in the house today? Well, dinner was burned a bit, so Gloria got her reason to shout at the servants some more. That hardly sounds like a reason to get depressed, does it? No, it does not, but apart from that, I couldn't tell you what the reason could be. But I don't think you need to worry about her. It'll just blow over and you'll be fine. Whatever it is that's eating Gloria. Thank you. So, if you couldn't say what happened, does that mean you did get the chance to get out of the house? I didn't. Sunshine, birds and bees, and friendly people that will stab you the moment you turn your back are not for me. Birds and bees and friendly people. Like, that's such an intentional word choice there that I'm like, okay. But I took my time of freedom to stay in my room and rest from all this, so I saw a little of Gloria today. You stayed in your own room the whole day? How come? Surely it will come as a surprise to you when I say I'm not a people person. The Pirate, thank you so much for subscribing. Welcome. Yeah, good to see you here. Yeah, to kind of catch you up, we have gone to the store that we're like, I don't know what the last thing you would have seen in Cinders is, but yeah, we're definitely going in with trying to befriend Sophia, our stepsister, and so far it has set us up as being in opposition to the other stepsister, but I am kind of get the feeling in this scene that might actually be about to change, so we'll see where this goes. Surely it will come as a surprise to you when I say I'm not a people person. I prefer to use this time for myself alone. May I ask what you did then? I used my peace and quiet to just sit and think things through, and finish a couple of things I had no chance to get around to with Carmosa on my back. Things like... Oh, that is nothing of importance. See, this all feels like a missed opportunity, because I feel like all of this information could have been conveyed in dialogue with voice or jokes or whatever that actually endear us to Sophia a little bit more, or a little bit more backstory to kind of pay off that we're having like this nice thing and having her maybe open up a little bit more like she did in the previous scene. And again, this is like content that is so ripe for writing in like some ship hooks, and like it feels like it's like the thing with the birds and the bees like acknowledges that that's where that should be, but it doesn't actually like lean into it at all. And so it's like, I don't, like, yeah, I don't know. It just feels so like all of this is like filler for surface area contact time with her that makes us like her more. So that's cool. But like, that could have been filled with things that actually make us like her more. At least not in comparison to the ominous discovery Gloria made this morning. Did you know she found a stain on a curtain in the hallway? That one. Oh no. Hard to believe, but it's true. Half our morning and all of our dinner conversation was about that stain being a sign of something greater, household and lifestyle deteriorating. Servants' morale and respect dropping, kingdoms falling, dark times approaching, and most of all, that stain is improper. See, like, that's getting there. Well, Gloria does take the house duties very seriously, but are you avoiding questions about your day? Maybe, but so are you. Surely after the whole day in town, you would have loads of stories to tell. It was really nice to get out without feeling that I need to hurry or else, and we usually have so little chance to speak to anyone outside of the house. And the town looks magical in the evening. It simply doesn't go to sleep. All the windows are lit, people walk the streets, even if to stroll to the tavern. We haven't had a choice in a really long time, have we? Have you ever been to town past sunset? No, I haven't. Carmosa saw it neither appropriate nor useful to have her daughter go out in the evening. But you must be exhausted. Indeed I am. Even my small and rock-hard bed seems like a piece of heaven now. I won't stop you from reuniting with your bed of rocks, then. I prefer to be alone anyway. But do be careful. Those bed bugs can get really big and eat you alive if you let them. Everything is possible in the fairyland you seem to live in, princess. Okay. Like, I'm like, there's like attempts at jokes here. It's like, it's trying. And then, yeah, we still have a little bit of like overly meta, which at least is getting farther apart each time they do it, which is nice. I wish you well too, Sophia. Good night. Cinders, are you awake? I'm awake. I'll be right there. I'll get to work in a minute. No, it's not about that. I just need to talk to you. All right, Gloria, what is it? What is so important that you came to speak with me at this hour? At this hour? You mean noon? I wanted to speak with you about the way you've been behaving these past few days. Now there goes my nice morning. Or afternoon. Listen, I realize we were never really on the best of terms, but what has been going on recently is something new indeed. If you really think that I'll turn a blind eye to all your childish, egoistic exploits, then you need to think again. What are you talking about, Gloria? I didn't do anything. Well, of course you didn't. You're far too smart for that. But do you think I haven't noticed all the little jabs at me? You take every opportunity to undermine my efforts. Really, I don't know what's happening to you, Cinders. Do you think I'm stupid or that I don't have any feelings? I'm trying to understand you, I really am, but it seems like you're reveling in this chaos you're creating, as if you want things to fall apart, despite the efforts of those who want to keep things together. This is where we differ, Gloria. True, our relationship was never civil, but I think I'm beginning to understand why. We may be a family, but we are not alike. All I'm trying to do is survive in this madhouse as unscathed as possible. It seems like chaos to you is freedom for me. Besides, let's face it, things are already broken. Only Carmosa and you are still pretending that you can glue them back together like some ugly heirloom everybody hates. Yeah, so these are moments I think I would like to be interjecting a little more like player choice into. Like I feel like both my relationship with her and also how I want to roleplay speaking to her are both like things that I feel like would really benefit from player choice. And even if the game wanted to sort of only pay off the choices that I'd already made, it feels like there probably was a way to do both. And yeah, it feels a little disappointing to not have very much actual freedom. It's such a shame that Mother taught me so well about the importance of family. It must have made me naive. Because I still have hope that you will mature one day. Excuse me, mature? Yes, become an adult, a person who's able to grasp a larger picture, go beyond one's own interests. Also, someone who can sacrifice personal happiness for the greater good of the house, if it is necessary. Yeah, so I do actually like that that they're drawing a parallel here between the fact that I said, like, oh, we would be friends, potentially, if they were just more mature, and she's saying like, you just aren't mature. And I do actually kind of like the dynamic that creates. I don't deny that it can be difficult at times, but we're not children anymore. You must realize how we all depend on Carmosa and support her in any way we can. I see. Well, it certainly doesn't play well with my idea of maturity, especially that part about supporting Carmosa. Of course you would say that. Just like you, Mother can be a difficult person to get along with, I admit. But her intentions are good. Think about the way she's putting all her strength into giving us a good life. And if you still doubt her, try imagining our lives without her. Don't mind if I do. How long do you think this house would last with her gone? You must understand she won't be here to care for us forever, and I can't do it alone, Cinders. I need your support. Okay, and it gives us a moment. Again, might have liked a couple of like reflective choices or sort of places to do a little bit of role play leading up into this, but this feels like a very significant choice of like, okay, do we want to maybe soften on her a little bit or tell her she's wrong? My only reservation with like trying to cultivate a relationship with her would be if it's going to affect our relationship with Sophia. So yeah, I guess she's not wrong, so it feels really weird to be like, you're wrong. But yeah, I don't know. I worry this is gonna undo all of my like hard work that I've done as a player. I don't know, chat, do you have any strong opinions one way or another, which direction we go? If not, then I'll probably just say, I guess you're right. Okay. All right, I see your point. As much as I hate to accept it, I think I can agree at least with part of what you're saying. Of course, Carmosa means well. It's her house and we're her daughters after all. At least you are. It's her actions, not her intentions, that I have trouble understanding. But maybe not anymore. Perhaps we're more alike than I've imagined. We're survivors, doing what's necessary to cope with the situation we've been presented with. Such insights give you credit, Cinders. They tend to come with age. If that's true, then Carmosa must be really old, and her sight is completely different than mine. That would explain some things. I wish there was a neutral deflect here. Yeah, I do too, biostats. Or that these stakes were a little bit more defined, I guess. Maybe she's a victim of harsh circumstances. Maybe she did have to struggle all the time. And yes, maybe I can't really imagine what she went through. But think about the woman she became. A black widow, so spiteful that she hurts her own children. But Cinders, please let me finish, Gloria. With all the pain she suffered, there was a lesson that she missed. Sometimes being nice to people around you can make all the difference in the world. She has no right whatsoever to turn our lives into hell, Gloria, and you know it. She is how she is, Cinders. She's doing her best to manage everything and is a great burden. She can be terrible, but only because life can be terrible to her. You surely don't intend to change her now. Oh yes, no doubt about that. I'm not talking about changing her arachnid nature. Word choice? Okay. I'm talking about changing ours. We could certainly use some improvement in our natures, you know. This picture you are painting in front of my eyes seems pleasant, but also not very realistic. It requires one thing, which we do not have, mutual agreement. And I think we will not have that as long as we are not of one mind. That is, as long as Sophia keeps up her silly act. Gloria, I doubt that it is Sophia who we should be worrying about in this situation. I agree. I'm having trouble picturing her opposed to anything that would bring us more freedom from Carmosa. No, Gloria, it is you. You are the unknown in this equation. We can't be sure about your loyalties. Now, this is something I didn't expect. You are behaving just like Sophia. It would seem that you two have much more in common than meets the eye. You both prefer to spend your time criticizing me rather than trying to contribute. You could be helping me, helping us somehow. How can we understand each other if you do not even try? Then maybe you should stop whining about being criticized and start listening. How exactly did you try to communicate with Sophia? How much effort did you put into it? Correct me if I'm wrong, but she isn't exactly the happiest girl in the world. I hate that you and Carmosa poured onto her through the years. The hate, took its toll. Her bitterness and armor of cynicism are like a cry for help. If you could only give her any credit, any recognition, then maybe she'd be willing to help you. She hardly seems interested in... Let me finish. Before you judge her with your usual presumptions, tell me this. When was the last time you actually talked with her? Do not be ridiculous, Cinders. I spoke with her as recently as yesterday. Yeah, we can't get along unless we get along. Exactly. You do remember that you two are sisters, right? Or is family only important to you if it allows you to put blame on other people? Alright, I see where this is going. Fine. I'm not really certain when it happened, but we did lose our connection. She seems so alien now. I catch myself thinking about her like a stranger. Her face is like a mask, shielding her thoughts from me. I agree that it is unfortunate, and it isn't only Sophia's fault that we grew apart. Maybe we could work on changing that. You may be thinking that I'm telling you this to criticize you, but I'm not. All I want is to hear you say things like this, so that we can stop hurting each other all the time. It is the only reasonable thing to do. And you're always the most reasonable one, so it's good that you're willing to give it a try. And so you recognized it as well. I am the most reasonable. Oh, have a good night, Biostats. So good to see you. Yeah, I think we're going to be wrapping up pretty soon here, so... thanks for the stream. Have a great weekend. Thank you so much. Have a good night and happy Halloween. So this feels like an argument that like real people would have rather than characters. And the distinction for me is like exactly the thing that I was talking about earlier, where like in an argument that characters have, you still have beats in the scene that are changing emotional values or upping the ante or like you know, kind of like creating higher stakes, or like changing emotional things about the scene, and this doesn't do that. Like there are moments that do, and then moments in between, and so it's like yeah, I just wish they would cut the stuff in between and just keep those moments, because like the moment where she changes and she goes, well, you're right, you know, maybe we did drift apart a little bit, like that feels like a powerful moment. But it also feels like a powerful moment that would be even more powerful if we were building up to it, or she were putting up more resistance, or, you know, like things were becoming more tense or pointed in some way. That might be just a bit of an overstatement, Gloria. Each of us puts some work into how this place works, for better or worse. We just have different perspectives, and so we give a different kind of input, but surely you recognize how naive that sounds. Is it something one might say to a slow child to spare its feelings? I do kind of like that she keeps interrupting us as like a way of characterizing her, but also like we are kind of monologuing a little bit here in the middle of an argument, which is really difficult because we kind of are just like saying all of these things that are kind of attacking her, and then she kind of keeps trying to interrupt. What I really would love is if the game, we're a little bit more aware of that, and we're sort of like, oh, let's try to paint this argument as one in which it's not clear whether we're the good one or we're in the wrong. Because it, like, yeah, this game feels like it wants to offer the ability that maybe Cinders is in the wrong here. And I think that's a super interesting direction for it to go. And it also feels like it could be setting up some directions for it to say like, well, you're doing the same things as your stepmother, or like you're doing the same things as your sisters. And I think that's really interesting to kind of like draw a little bit more humanity around those things, and particularly to have the player be making those choices. I think that's really powerful and that's really strong. And so this scene and the argument feels like it could be going in that direction, and also if that is something that they are wanting to use as a theme, I think that this scene in particular could signal it a little bit more strongly. Will nobody ever learn? How long am I supposed to guide you and work alone against the laziness and stupidity of others? Hasn't it ever occurred to you that you might not have all the answers, because that's the root of the problem right there? You try to be our teacher or a disciplinarian. You have no knowledge that we lack, nor a higher status, and you are not our mother. Stop trying to imitate Carmosa. Is that how you think a sister should act? How should I know? Do any of you act like one toward me? Okay. And like, yeah, this is a great moment where we can apologize or reason with her or fight back. I wish I had a better understanding of what reason with her meant, because I could see that meaning like try to convince her of our position, or which I'm not sure how that's entirely different from fight back, or it feels like that could also mean like strike a bargain. So I'm not fully sure, but I do think I am going to try to apologize. You're right. I'm sorry. I guess both sides are always responsible for a relationship, and neither me nor Sophia has made it easier for you. Yet again, the voice of reason speaks on my behalf, and all it took was a little honesty with yourself to admit that I am right. Can you see the argument for my previous behavior now? Stop it. Can you actually hear yourself? I reached out to you and apologized, and what did you do? You yourself have admitted that I was right, and my behavior was correct. I said that both sides are always responsible, and so I apologized for my faults toward you, but you are responsible too. How dare you? And we could do what we always do, throw the blame around. I'm sure there's plenty for everyone. We could even share some with the neighbors. But how about acting normal for a change? We've had it hard in the past and took it out on each other. Let's start over. So I noticed they use in things like behavior, but then they call Carmosa mom. So I guess this is like a Canadian English thing. How do you imagine we do that? We could try to act like sisters for starters, or at least like a group of semi-friendly normal girls. Exchange information in basic conversation without bringing out the big guns, you know? Talk. I think I would like that. I'm glad. I promise to treat you better from now on, to act more sister-like. Thank you. Fine, I shall try to put some effort into it and treat you well too. Thank you. I'm happy we've finally agreed. And in light of taking care of one another, are you still, you're still speaking a bit like Carmosa. Please, take more care of yourself and your own needs. Stop trying to become her. Not that again. Okay, this is tiresome. Gloria, would you please stop for a second and think about and answer one simple question truthfully? And what question might that be? What do you like to do? And no, I don't mean something that you feel obliged to do, not a chore, necessity, or an assignment. What do you like to do? What makes you happy? What do you do just for yourself and nobody else? But what are your goals? What will you do when Carmosa's not here anymore? Where do you want to go? Who do you want to be? I do not know. I just want to make everything better. This house should work as intended, and it should do so because of me. I want to make everyone happy and keep it all together. Fine. And when you accomplish that, I imagine the house is running smoothly. Carmosa is proud of you and at ease. All tasks complete. What would you do with your free time then? I do not know what to say. Indeed, such a situation seems highly unlikely to occur, so I've not given it any thought. Who are you? What do you know about yourself? God, we're like berating this girl. I do not know. So like, and this is kind of what I mean. I do not know why you're so mean to me. All I did was come here to talk to you, find some mutual understanding. You get no understanding because there's nothing there to understand. You came here to reenact Carmosa in a statement of superiority. That is not true. I did indeed try to get through to you. You simply would not listen. Like, I'm not sure if our character's goal is to berate her. Like, I'm not sure if as a player I'm supposed to be feeling like, oh yeah, she got hers. Or if I'm supposed to be feeling like guilty a little bit at this, because I definitely do feel a little bit guilty. And like, yeah, I'm not, damn. Yeah, like I don't know, I'm not sure, she just came here to have a good time, and honestly, she's feeling so attacked right now. Oh, it's so true, Tammy. Yeah, and that's exactly it, right? It's like, I'm not, like, some conversational moves happened. And it seems really unclear to me, like, if the game is leaning into misinterpretation, or if this is supposed to seem like she's being manipulative. Like, I don't know how to read this scene, and I don't mean that in a sort of like, oh, ambiguity in a good way. I mean that in like, I don't know on an emotional level how my character is reacting right now. Like, I know how my character is reacting. I don't know how I am supposed to react, because like my character seems to just be like lashing, and like, and then this move where she's like, well, what do you like? What do you want to do? It even still feels kind of like an attack, and she seems like both defensive and attacking me in turn, and like, yeah, it just I think I would have appreciated maybe streamlining this a little bit, and it like, I don't want to say like, let's take the complexity out of human interactions, because like obviously human interactions are complex, and when people argue, a lot of times arguments don't make sense. Arguments in stories generally do though, and so like it is difficult for me to understand how she's feeling in response and how my character is feeling, and like the kind of beat by beat exchanges of those. And so that's what I say, like, when I say like this feels like a real argument, like that's kind of what I mean, is that like a lot of times real arguments between people, they don't make sense, and there's kind of just this like power move one-upmanship that happens, and sometimes things get really messy, and like you find yourself arguing for one thing even though you believe something else just because you don't want to be wrong, and stuff like that. But I'm not sure, and I feel this scene feels like that, and I don't know if that is translating for me as a player very well, because I'm trying really hard to roleplay my character, and people act incoherently when they're arguing, and so because my character is acting incoherently, as a player, I'm not really sure, like, how to feel about any of it, especially since I've had very few choices in this moment. So the couple of choices I have had, yeah, I'm not entirely sure that they've also like continued and paid off what my intention behind the choice was either. So yeah, it's a strange scene. This is pointless. I see no reason to listen to such nonsense, especially since I did nothing to deserve such treatment from an immature brat. Both of you are trying to turn everybody against you. Then you'll be able to whine about the fate that brought you to living in cinders and pain. I must have some kind of huge lapse in judgment to even consider treating you as a mature woman. Okay, the only choice that we've made so far is to apologize. Oh, look who's talking. Do you even understand the word of mature? Or is that something you repeat after Carmosa? Fine, Cinders, get out. Enjoy your freedom while it lasts. You have one more day till Carmosa returns. I will not stoop to debating this with you any further. Go and do as you please. I'll see where your freedom gets you. Ha! We both know you're powerless to stop me from leaving this house, or doing anything for that matter, so you can stop pretending. Or did you grow accustomed to pretending too much, pretending to have control, to be self-confident, to be Carmosa? I do not have to listen to this. Goodbye. Hello there, Hall. Let's see what new surprises you have in store for me today. Because I have to warn you, after the conversation I just had, I'm hard to impress. Hello there, early bird. Only old surprises, apparently. You should really try harder next time, Hall. Having a conversation with a room? How bizarrely refreshing. It's good to see you too, Sophia. Now, I never thought I'd say something like this, but here goes. Carmosa was right. Too much reading does make you crazy. But evidently, it also makes you interesting. At least interesting enough to make my eternally uptight sister sneak into your room when she thought I wasn't looking. I seriously doubt she's that naive. Doesn't matter. The real question is, what did she want from you? Did she come to ask for help? So many hours without the chance to struggle for Carmosa's approval, it must have left the poor girl quite disturbed. Oh, you know Gloria, true stronghold of independence, a font for wisdom. I take it she came to spread her usual Carmosian propaganda among the little ones. Only to meet with a steadfast resistance of the people. We will not be silenced, shouted the crowds. Oh my, it must have been quite the display. Did the guard intervene? If you're asking if there was any violence, then yes, plenty. The streets and squares practically turned red. Oh, how lovely. Was she hurt? Did you slap her? No. I think that would be going a bit too far. My dear simple sister, who can really say? Such things tend to be relative, you know? One man's hero is a criminal to someone else. It's simply too complex for a girl like me to decide. So when it comes to Gloria, I don't analyze and stick to the golden rule. Violence is always the answer. I see. I think you've just given me a bit too much information there, Sophia. Oh, you're such a child sometimes. In case you didn't notice, we're living in the middle of a dangerous and unforgiving forest. This place is packed with wild, bloodthirsty predators. And whether we choose to see them or not, they exist. What a lovely thought. I will think about it on my trip through the woods today. Oh, you're going out again? I have to eat something first, but then yes, I'm going out. Why? I was just wondering if you, well, what is it, Sophia? Are you blushing? Don't be ridiculous. Of course I'm not blushing. I was just thinking that maybe you could use some company. Okay, now we're getting somewhere, Sophia. Okay. You want to leave the house? Yeah, girl, blush. Let's go out in the woods together. Yes, is that a crime? Dear Sophia, no, not in my book. Of course, I'd love to go with you. But a lot is happening right now, and I wanted to have some time to think alone. Man, come on now, game. I'm really sorry. Maybe some other time. When Carmosa's back? Right. I'll get back to my room and stay there then, forever. Don't be like that. I'm really sorry. You just caught me by surprise, and I really would want to go out with you whenever we get the next chance. Yes, I understand. Go then and have fun doing your secret stuff. Hey! I know, right? Thanks, I will. I'll see you in the evening. Sorry again. So, all right, let's talk, chat. I really wish that the game had made that a choice and had let me pick it. And even if the game didn't have a budget to give Sophia like a chance to go with me, maybe she could have been interrupted by the sister coming in and then she didn't want to go because she was worried about getting in trouble or whatever. But giving me the choice as to whether I wanted that and then letting that play out would have like been really good for the filler, or like the ship sort of hooks. So yeah, glad to see they actually had like a little bit of a ship hook in there. That was great. Yeah, I think yeah, this is definitely kind of dragged a little bit for me. So I think I'm probably going to need to call the stream here, and we'll play this again next Sunday. Before I go, I did want to maybe chat just a little bit more about some of the stuff we were talking about earlier in terms of roles and things. I had fully planned in this stream to talk about villains. And I think that has kind of pivoted a little bit because this seems like a story that really wants to take a villain and give that villain enough nuance that they're not a villain anymore. And that is fine, but it's not actually replacing that with any conflict that feels like it has stakes. So it's kind of just leading to this thing of like, oh, okay, I guess there's not really a problem then, which is weird. And yeah, I think is kind of feeding into this like lack of stakes thing. So like right now, this feels like a moment where I'm just like having stuff because there's like a game loop and they decided this was like the appropriate thing to go into the game loop. Tammy, thank you so much for gifting a sub. That was really awesome. I'm sure Biostats would really appreciate it, and you are amazing. Yeah, I feel like this, it's like, yeah, like, so, okay, we choose to go into town, potentially. What am I gonna do in town? Like, am I literally just going to town because there's like nothing to do around my house? It's like, oh, okay, you have freedom to go to town. And like my character doesn't really have any motivation, right now. Like, I'm not really in danger of anything. Nobody I care about is in danger of anything. There's not really much internal conflict. I don't have any goals that I'm working toward. I don't have any like moments of role play to fulfill. And even from a stat perspective, like, it's not like this is a game that has grinding or something where I'm like, oh, if I go into the forest and kill 6 wolves, I'll be stronger. So it's like, I'm literally just going to town because that's where things are on this map, and the story is kind of moving in that direction. But the story's only moving in that direction linearly. Like, the story is not pulling in that direction. And so, yeah, I don't know, like, left to my own devices, I'm not sure that I would continue streaming this game. So I'm actually gonna put up a vote, I think, on Twitter about whether we want to finish out the story or not. I really believed we were gonna finish it today, and I was like, oh cool, I'm cool to like stream this one more time and then I'm good to go. But I'm like getting increasingly skeptical about the storytelling as we go through, and I don't want it to be a situation where I'm like mostly commenting negatively. That's not really the stream vibe. So I'm curious, folks in chat, what y'all are interested in. One possibility is we could finish out the game and talk about like alternate directions we wish the story were going in. That could be fun. And yeah, maybe try to inject a little bit of our own stakes and desires into this in places where the game is lacking is another direction. So yeah, we can chat about it on Twitter and see what folks are feeling. But yeah, it's interesting. Like, it feels like I'm very sympathetic to wanting to make some of these characters a little bit more three-dimensional and to make some of the circumstances a little bit more nuanced. But in the process, it feels like it's maybe lost a little bit of what is this story about? So yeah, I'd be curious what folks think about that. So yeah, thank you guys so much for joining. We're gonna be streaming again on Wednesday. We will stream Baba's You at 5:30, and then I'll stream this again next Sunday, but it might be a slightly later stream next Sunday, so probably start like 6 or 7. And then yeah, we'll play and see where we get to, unless folks have strong opinions on Twitter, in which case maybe we'll play something else. I don't know, we can see. But thank you guys so much. Thank you, both Tammy and the Pirate, for your subs today. Thank you, everybody, for joining and for your thoughts and comments in chat. Lurkers, thank you too. And if anybody has anything else, I'm available on all the socials. Just hit me up, and I will hopefully see you folks next Wednesday. Let me see if there is somebody around we would like to raid. Chat, is there anybody that y'all feel strongly about raiding? Oh my gosh, okay. Friend of the channel, Decaf Jedi, is streaming Resident Evil, and Decaf Jedi is awesome. Let's go ahead and raid him. Like me, he is a game academic and has really amazing thoughts and insights, and he's just very funny and great personality. So let's go show him lots of love, and I will see y'all next week.